Hey everybody, I'm Sherry. I am Doc Sherry on Instagram. I am a doctor of medicine in real life. I'm an anesthesiologist and I talk about that in another video. But today I wanted to reintroduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I am Sherry. I'm an anesthesiologist and I want to talk to you today about retreats, wellness retreats, health retreats. Why do people go on retreats? So my experience with retreats really was just like, okay, there's a group of friends gonna do some yoga. They're gonna look really cute on a mountain or in crazy poses on a beach somewhere. I'm gonna get to visit an exotic place. I'm gonna eat great food. I'm gonna lose a few pounds, right? Yes, that and what I didn't expect was the magic that ensued every single time. And what do I mean about the magic? There is something really, really special about these healing practices that I've not only developed and learned both through science, through study, through books, through teachers, through gurus, through courses, experiential, but things that I've also learned how to teach and then have applied to my life. I've seen changes, and I now believe I embody a lot of that as the evidence is clear in my life based upon feedback from my patients, from my family, from my children, and from my closest friends. So learning is one thing, practicing is another. Each of those steps along this way begin to make changes in your life. So we learn, we put it into practice, we get really, really good, and then we start to embody those teachings, whatever it is. And along the way, if you allow your ego to step aside and really break it down and look at what really needs to be healed, which that's part of the journey too. A lot of people go through a lot of spiritual practices and they become more of a jerk. But I think for most of us, we really do want to make changes in our life. So it behooves us to really take a long, hard look at what is it in us that needs to be changed. I don't want to use the word fixed because everything is perfect exactly as we are. But how do you get to this place of loving yourself exactly as you are? And how do you get to that place of releasing old trauma? So we learn, we practice, we embody, we become wise. And if you choose, like I did, you learn how to teach it as well. So I've done the work. I've done the healing. I've taken the time to learn how to teach. Being a medical physician, I was not trained as a teacher. My mom was a teacher. But I've learned ways of teaching. Even though I've had this intuitive or natural ability to help people, how do I know this? I'm not just tooting my own horn. People came to me many times in my life, most frequently, I would say in the last 10 years or so since going through my divorce, asking me for advice. Hey, you went through XYZ. How is it that you're always smiling? How is it that you have stayed young looking and healthy? How is it that you enjoy life the way that life is supposed to be enjoyed? How is it that you've been able to work out your relationships such that they're not a struggle and they're just absolutely, beautiful? There is no perfection and there's still challenges. But all of these amazing healing techniques that I've learned through my personal needs that I've now learned to teach, I have embodied. So it's my turn to give back to the world. And it's just so amazing the transformation that's taken place in my life that I want to bring this to others. I love to travel. I love exotic places. I happen to also be a surfer. So this is one of the reasons I've chosen Costa Rica for its natural resources, for the people, for the proximity to the United States, for my ability to go down there and surf. and for the amazing indigenous and healing practices, the people that learn them, the people that grew up with this ancestral knowledge. And just this is an incredible place. So I chose to start teaching at retreats for those personal benefits, but more importantly, this is what I can bring to the world. And I feel so strongly about the benefits that I'm about to describe of learning in the format of a retreat. So I'm so excited to share that with you. Now, I've been on many retreats before, and one of the most profound experiences that I had each and every time, because each one was different, of course, with different people, but the most profound thing that was consistent throughout all those retreats were the sheer number of synchronicities that occurred during those retreats and the magic that unfolded. So whether it was a yoga, meditation, even on a surf retreat that I recently went on, where we also incorporated breath work and yoga to have a better surf sessions and to be able to better incorporate what we learned while surfing, the yoga and the meditation was critical to be able to get in flow, to get in the zone, to be safe. So I have had synchronous experiences even with the people on the surf retreat. One of the most profound experiences really occurred during a large group meditation retreat. So I had struggled to learn to meditate for many, many years. I knew that it would be good for me. I knew that it would help me, but I really just couldn't quiet my chatterbrain. I was raising kids. I was working for many, many hours. So going to retreat, being in the room with other people, which I didn't know at the time, but it made sense when I learned this, being there with other people and not being able to leave, not being able to fiddle, not being able to check my phone, not being able to get up and move around, forced me to sit there for just a few more minutes than I would have done on my own. In addition, I got instruction what to do because no one had ever done that before. Everyone just said, put on the headphones and listen to a guided meditation. And while that was relaxing, I never went anywhere with that. So being in the room with other people, I started to have these experiences of what I can only say was dropping in. My mind really would get quiet. The thoughts become fewer and fewer and far between. But what I later learned on the retreat, at this amazing Chopra meditation retreat, was that while you're there with other people, they're also dropping in. They're raising their electromagnetic frequency. You're raising your electromagnetic frequency. And people become aligned. And your ability to drop in becomes way more powerful because everybody is dropping into this amazing quantum field energy, which I could get woo-woo and call it unified fields or the field of love, the field of infinite possibilities, or I could just simply call it the quantum field. However you want to frame it, it doesn't matter. It's real. And when that happens, the magic happens. So you will have experiences as an individual. You may have no experiences at all except getting quiet. But it's after you leave the room and after you start to communicate with other people, you start to have these crazy synchronicities, chance meetings, as Carl Jung called them, synchronicities. Meetings that were similar beyond that which would happen by chance alone. That is a synchronicity. A coincidence that was too perfect to be by accident. So the magic and the synchronicities are really of infinite types of possibilities because it just depends who you are, what your life path is, and what the universe has planned for you, and what the universe has planned for these other people. Now, going in a large group, you're going to meet people. But going in a small intimate group is really, really special. And that's one of the greatest things that I can't emphasize enough about being in a small group retreat. I have never come away without having at least one really good connection. And in most cases, I've had multiple connections. So I really want to emphasize the amazing ability to connect with other people in this type of setting where you're not just there, for drinking and dancing and hiking, but you're there to connect. And you're there to have shared stories and shared connection of humanity. And this is so lacking in this world today. It is so important with everything that's going on to feel our best, to find tools, methods, techniques, practices, so that we can release the stress of what's going on in the world. We can show up for our partners, for our children, for our employees or our employers, or even just for ourselves in the best version, the best way possible. And we have these amazing connections where we can co-create. So we're going to explore the beauty of this exotic place, which is a blue zone, which means there's a lot of centenarians there. The food is fantastic. It's organic, it's local, it's natural, it's all chef-inspired, local, organic, vegan food. We're going to do daily yoga, and we're going to engage with our body, mind, and spirit in ways that are just magical. If you've been on yoga retreats before, you may or may not have had those experiences. I was on one yoga retreat once that was really just more like a gathering, and the yoga was just like, okay, we'll do yoga in the morning and then we'll go on our retreats, and then everybody just kind of socialized. And it was a lot of fun. It was great. But I knew then that when I start to run my own retreats, that I wanted to make sure that people were immersed in learning the meditation interwoven with this beautiful practice of yoga, and not just the physical practice, but the philosophical teachings and wisdom from which the physical or the hatha yoga part of yoga developed. So I really want to share this experience with you. I hope it's actually your first time. And if it's not, then that's, hey, bring it on, because we have a plenty of knowledge to challenge even the experienced meditator or yogi. But we're specifically looking for people who are just starting out on their journey, or they're just curious, or they're a total computer nerd. Or maybe you're just out of shape, or maybe you've been embarrassed to walk into a yoga studio, or maybe you've tried to meditate and you just can't quiet that monkey or chatter mind. So reach out, ask those questions. I will help you fall in love with yourself again. I will help you to fall in love with this planet again. We will all guide you before, during, and after. As coaches, we will help you integrate what you've learned. So when you go home, we're not going to just say, see you later, or adios, pura vida. We're going to be there with you for weeks or months until you feel comfortable, and will always be available by text or email with any questions that you have in the future. So this is an all-immersive experience. The amazing ancient teachings of the meditation, yoga, introduction to Ayurveda, incorporated with sound healing as well, nature and excursions and surfing and horseback riding and hiking and waterfalls and sort of beautiful organic food, and resting, just doing nothing, resting and journaling and thinking and contemplating about everything that you've learned and experienced, and forming connections of a lifetime. These are the types of things that you just cannot experience on a regular vacation. There's nobody there to guide you through. And when you want to have free time, there's plenty of it as well. So please reach out, ask questions, message me on Facebook or Instagram. Click the link in my bio on Instagram. It's also on Facebook. I'll post this video both places, and ask away. I really hope to see you there. And thank you so much for listening. Have a great night.